Hey everybody. Right now, today I'm going to work on another aspect of Eric Johnson's playing, his use of open voice triads as arpeggios across the neck. It's a very popular technique that he's kind of really made his own, and a lot of guitar players have been influenced by it. So I thought I'd talk about it. If you have any players that you would like me to analyze their style, just give me a request at guitarlessons365.com. I'll get to work on it. Okay. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. All right, so real quickly, I'm just going to play through this etude that we're going to work ourselves to through the lesson. Okay? Here we go. All right, so that whole little etude that's at the end of the music download that you can get from guitarlessons365.com is completely comprised of open voice triads. Now, Eric Johnson's kind of the one that's kind of made these things really popular in the guitar world. He primarily voices them like this. First of all, what is an open voice triad? Well, let's take a closed voice triad, say a first inversion closed A minor triad. Here's a C, an E, and an A on just the third, fourth, and fifth strings. Now we've covered triads extensively, closed voice triads extensively on the site. So if you don't know those, if you haven't seen them yet, go to guitarlessons365.com and just do a search on triads and you'll find a whole 4-part series on how to master those all over the neck. Now if we take one of those closed voice shapes, if we take the middle note, which in this case is E, because we have the C, E, and the A, we take this middle E and move it up an octave. Now we have this C here, the A, and the E up here. So now the span of the notes of the whole triad, of all 3 notes in the triad, is over an entire octave, more than an octave. So anytime you have the 3 notes of a triad and they're spaced out over the distance of an octave, you have an open voice triad. Open meaning there's a spot left open there. That E right there isn't there anymore. It's way up here. So, and then we have a C between this A and this E right here. So that's a spot that's not filled by a chord tone. So it's open voiced. Now, so he plays this, and now, but what he does to make it easier to play quickly is he takes this A that's on the 3rd string here, and he moves it to the A that's on the 4th. He still has this C and the E there, but what he does is he takes this C and he plays it with his 1st finger, this E with his 2nd, and then he has a pinky on the A. All right, so now this is this kind of shape of what he's doing. These string set, this 5th string, 4th string, and 2nd string, he uses that literally 90% of the time when he does open voice triads. So he really likes the sound of those 3 strings and how they work together, and how you can really carry a melody note on the top. So anyway, what he's doing here, besides the open voice triads, is if you see like the beginning of the intro to Cliffs of Dover. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Those are all open voice triads, and most of them are first inversion. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all our open voice triads through all inversions. So root position, first inversion, second inversion. So I'm going to take a the key of C here, start off this C, and then I'm going to play a C major triad. What I did is take the C, E, G and move that E up to this high E. And then I have C, so I move this E to here, and then this G to here. So I have a root position C major triad that's an open voicing. Now you can see how I'm picking this. He picks it this way too. He goes down, down, then up. I think every once in a while he might go, actually hit it with his middle finger. But he also goes down, down, up, down, down, up. Because the reason why he wants that last one to be an upstroke is because he's usually doing these in like he says, he does them in a row. So when you're doing that, you got to make your way back to that 5th string, so you need an upstroke on that 2nd. He also doesn't necessarily finger it like this with his pinky. He usually goes down, down, and comes around with his 2nd finger, whenever that major shape he's got to do. All right? So it's up to you how you really finger them. But here's the whole C major scale. Well, basically, you start in a root position, you basically just go up the C major scale on those 3 strings, and that'll give you those triads. All right? You can also do this backwards. I recommend playing them both ways. Then we can do it in first inversion. So I'm going to take a G major key now. This is the same key that Calypso-Dover's in. That's why a lot of these triad shapes you'll be practicing here, he uses in the intro to Calypso-Dover. You basically start with a B in the bass. It's a G major triad. In first inversion, move that middle note up, and you have the B in the bass, and then you just go up the G major scale on those strings. So you have basically this. See, that last one, diminished. He avoids the diminished one most of the time and replaces it with a different triad. And then we have the 2nd inversion voicing of the triads, which he doesn't use that often. But they give you a very kind of unsettling sound, which actually can really work in a lot of situations, but they're also a little bit more difficult to play. So we have this. I'm going to start with the C again, but it's going to be the 2nd version, or the 5th of an F major chord. So we have this: C, A, F. All these 3 strings, and basically just go up the F major scale on those keys, on those strings, and that'll keep it always in 2nd inversion. So we have this now. All right, now I would recommend taking that and just practicing them as root shapes up and down. Remember, picking them backwards as well, and then changing keys and trying it on D major and whatever, and then trying a couple of triads in first inversion up and down the neck, and then a couple of keys in first inversion, then a couple of keys in 2nd inversion, just to get to really nail these things down. The etude that I did at the beginning, so you should, basically the thing with the etude is, now since we've been studying how to do them on the 5th, 4th, and 2nd string, which is what he does majority of, you can move them around and play them on different string sets. So what I would do is download the music and go through it, and you can see me take these. I wrote a little etude. It's basically a little etude building to the key of E major, and it'll take you across different string sets and just all over the place, and really get a handle on what you can do with this, so you can go off and do your own thing with it. All right, and after you memorize it, I would go back and just look at the beginning of the video and try to play along. Okay, so please comment. Please go to guitarlessons365.com and support the site so I can keep these lessons going, and make a request for somebody you'd like their style dissected. I'd appreciate it. Okay, bye-bye.